Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Robinson again, and we are going to continue our studies. This time we are talking about consecutive integers. Okay, so consecutive integers are, well, let's first get our first definition. Integer is first a whole number, and there's no decimals, please remember that, and it's opposite. And we can include zero as well, like 5, -3, and 0. Those are integers. So they have positive signs or negative signs, and 0 is neutral, does not have a sign. So those are integers. So we're going to talk about consecutive integers, and what they are, those are numbers or integers that follow one another in order. So like 4, 5, 6, 7, notice how they come right after each other. And here we have negative integers. That's -4, -3, -2, -1. Notice they come right after each other. And what you should notice that each number in the set is one more than the preceding number. So the number 4, the one that precedes it would be 3, and it's just 3 is one more, or we've had 4. 5 would be the next number after it, and it's one more than it. And so when you just go forward or backwards, you're going by one number difference. So each number is a difference of 1. So consecutive even integers, that's another type of integer that we're going to be dealing with, and this time they're even integers that follow one another in order, such as 2, 4, 6, 8. So they're even numbers though. So they're consecutive, but they come after each other evenly, like negative numbers, -8, -6, -4, -2. So those are even numbers. Notice no odd numbers. They are even. So you can have a negative sign with an even number. We also have what's called consecutive odd integers. Those are odd integers that follow one another in order as well. So we're counting odd by odd numbers, counting by twos, but by odd numbers. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, so on and so on. So here we have negative numbers, -7, -5, -3, -1. So these are odd numbers, and those are called consecutive odd. So we have consecutive even and consecutive odd numbers. And what you should know, these differ by 2. So the difference between the first two numbers here, 2 and 4, that would be a difference of 2. 4 and 6 is a difference of 2. Even if you're counting by odd numbers from 3 to 5, if you take the difference between them, that's 2. So it's just a difference of 2, and it's just a way that you're counting by odd numbers or even numbers. So that's important to know. So let's play around with this, and we are going to look to find the larger of two consecutive integers whose sum is 95. Okay, so what we should do is set up our representation. So we're looking for a larger number, and there are 2, and they are consecutive integers. So consecutive integers differ by 1. So we'll call x our first consecutive integer. And remember, the second one is going to differ from the first one by just 1. So it'll be x plus just 1. So the difference between the two, it'll be x plus 1. Now it mentioned we had to find a larger versus a smaller. So the larger one will be the second one because it's going to be one more bigger than the smaller one. So we have a smaller one and a larger one, small and large. So let's get down to our work. So let's draw a little dividing line here. And now we're going to talk about what they said in the problem here. It said their sum is 95. So the sum is what we're dealing with. So let's get an equation down here of what they're saying. Our equation deals with the first number plus the second number because sum means we have to add, is equal to 95. So now we're going to work on our solution. So let's get our solution and set up our equation so we can solve this for our variable and see what these numbers are. So we said the first number, we said let x equal our first number. So our second number is going to be represented by x plus 1. So that's what we said the second number is going to be, because it's one more than the first number. And this is going to add up to 95. So notice what we have. We have x plus 1 equals 95. And this is set up as an equation that we could solve where we combine like terms. Here we have a 1 little x and a 1 little x. That'll give us 2 x's. And we have a plus 1, and that is equal to 95. And now we have an equation of 2 steps that we can solve for x. So let's subtract 1 from both sides. That way our 1's will cancel out, leaving us with 2x equals 94. And now let's divide by 2. Divide by 2. So let me divide by 2. If I can get down there. Divide by 2, divide by 2. My 2's are going to cancel out. And let's see, 2 goes into 9 4 times, and 1 left over. And 2 goes into 14 7 times. So x is equal to 47. And if you remember, when we go back to our representation up here, we said let x equal our first number, and that means our first number, which is a smaller number, is going to be 47. But they didn't say find the smaller number, they said find the larger number. So the larger number is going to be 47 plus 1 more, because we have over here our representation said the second number is 1 more than the first, because consecutive integers differ by 1. So that'll be x plus 1. So that'll make this one 48. So our larger number is going to be 48. Let's check that. There it is, 48. So that was a good question. So we had to set up our representation, get our equation set up, how we solved it, and get our solution going by combining like terms, solving it for x, and then going back to our original representation, seeing what we said x was, and then plugging in our value for x, and then putting down our answer. So that was a good question. And I have a shortcut that I'll show you a little later. So here's one for you. Try it, see if you can get it. Find the larger of 2 consecutive integers whose sum is 91. So that's not bad. Check your understanding. If you understand what's going on so far, great. If you're not sure, rewatch the video, write down your questions, and bring them in. I'll be glad to answer them. Okay, here's another question. Find the middle term of 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is negative 12. Okay, so we got our work cut out for us. We got to find a middle term, and we're dealing with 3 consecutive even. So now they want even integers. So let's get our representation. So we got our first even number, consecutive even number. So our first consecutive even number, we'll call that x. Now consecutive even numbers differ by 2. So you got to add 2 to get to the next even number. So that'll be our second consecutive even number. Our third, because we're looking for 3, that'll be 2 more than the last one. So that's another 2 we're going to add on to that. So that'll be 2 plus 2 is 4. So that'll be x plus 4. That'll represent the third consecutive even number. So now we have our representation. So let's see what we got here. So we want to find the sum, and that means we have to add, equal to our negative 12. Okay, so let's get a little room here. So I got to get my first number. So here's my solution. So equation first. So let's write down my equation. My equation is going to be my first number plus my second number plus my third number equals negative 12. So now I want to set up my solution. So my first number, I said let x equal to my first number. Plus I'm going to add to that my second number, even number, which I said let x plus 2 equal that one. And I'm going to add a third because we're looking for a third number, which is x plus 4. And this is all going to equal to negative 12. Okay? All right? So let's put a little 1 here to remind ourselves that there's a coefficient of 1. And let's combine all our x's. So I have 1x plus 1x, that's 2x, plus another 1x. That'll give me a total of 3 x's there. I also have a plus 2 and a plus 4. That'll give me plus 6. And that is equal to negative 12. All right, so I have my equation. So now all I have to do is solve for x. So I'll subtract 6 from both sides, and my 6's are going to cancel out here, leaving me with a 3x equals. Now, be careful over here. If you remember my video about subtraction, there's no such thing as subtraction of integers. It's really adding the additive inverse, which means opposite, of the second number. So that's going to be negative 12 plus a negative 6. And that's going to give us a negative 18. So be careful with your subtraction because it's really addition of the additive inverse of the second number, the opposite of the second number. Okay, so now we're ready. So let's divide by 3 and divide by 3. And x will equal to negative 6. So there is our first number, negative 6. So now that we got our first number, we can get our second number. Our second number, we said, would be x plus 2. So we're going to take negative 6 and add 2 to it. Now we cannot add different signs because the signs are different, so we have to subtract. 6 minus 2 will give us 4, and we choose the sign of the larger digit, which is negative. So that would be negative 4, which would be our second number. And now we got to get our last number, which would be negative 6 plus 4, because we said let the third number represent x plus 4, so we have negative 6 plus 4. And remember, you cannot add different signs, so you have to subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Choose the sign of the 6 because it's larger, and that is negative. So we have our numbers are our first number would be negative 6, our second number would be negative 4, and our last number would be negative 2. Now, what were they asking us to find? Because we found all three of the numbers, and if you check them, you could add them all up to see if they add up to negative 12, and I'm going to check it just to make sure. Negative 6 plus negative 4, those are the same signs. That'll give me negative 10, and I'll bring down this negative 2 plus negative 2. That'll give me negative 12, so it does add up to negative 12, but they asked for the middle term, so they're asking for the middle term, so they want the second one here, so the second one is the middle term. So the middle term is negative 4, so our answer we're looking for is negative 4. So that's the middle term. So that's what we had to find. Let's press this. There you go, negative 4. Good question. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me show you a little trick, though, that you might also like. Here's a nice trick. Since we were looking for three numbers, and they added up to negative 12, so here's my little trick I want to show you. So I'm going to take negative 12, and I'm going to divide it by 3, because there are three numbers, and I'm going to get negative 4. Now, that's a coincidence that I got negative 4? Not really, because I got the average of the three numbers. So I'm using a method called the average method. And now, just to find out my numbers, I'm looking for even numbers. So I'm going to count up to the previous even number. So remember, they differ by 2. So the previous even number would be negative 2. And the next one, I'm going to go past it. The next even number after negative 4 would be negative 6. And here are my three numbers, negative 2 plus negative 4 and negative 6. And I was looking for the middle term, and just so happened that when I divided by the number of consecutive integers, I get negative 4. So this is a cute way to figure out, by using an average method, how to get your numbers by counting up. So come to class and I'll share with you some more little secrets like that. So here's one for you. Find the middle term of three consecutive odd integers whose sum is negative 39. So give it a shot. Check your understanding. If you understand so far, great. If you're not sure, rewatch the video, write down your questions, and bring them in. Uh-oh, challenge me. Problem time. Find three consecutive integers such that twice the smallest is 12 more than the largest. Wow, now we got to deal with word problems with integers, consecutive integers. Okay, here's another one for you. Hopefully you'll find the answer. And you're looking for 4? Oh boy. Oh, here's interesting. Yes or no. So figure it out if you can find that to be true or false. So watch us on YouTube. My channel name is Dan Robinson. Here's our latest release of our math movie. We'll be working on our next one shortly. So, Math Prep 16, very good movie. I think you'll like it. So, study with Dr. Rob. If you would like a copy of a worksheet on this topic, write me at robinsonmath@aol.com. Need your email address. You could put your name, address, and all of that good stuff. That way I'll be able to forward you a copy through the mail, because I want to make sure you get it, and then want to try to keep in contact with you and solicit your responses and help me out to see how well am I doing with these videos. And if you can donate, I would be much appreciative of your generosity to help us in our efforts. So this is Dr. Robinson signing off. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got something out of it. So I'll see you in class tomorrow. Bye.